Welcome to my YouTube channel. Victoria here. I'm doing a voiceover because by the time I recorded this video there's too much noise in the background and I couldn't get anything out as sound. So in this tutorial I'm showing you how you can make this beautiful skirt. Called it the girlfriend skirt with that flare down. I started by pulling out all the needles on my bed, right from 95 to 96. If you can pull out from 100 to 100, just that for me at the end of my bed those needles are kind of spoiled, so I did 95, 96, and then I'm using lemon green, this one, as the main color. And then I'll be using also this green for waist as my waist yarn. So it's what I'll start by casting on using the Arab method as usual. We are doing a picot as a hem. That's why we are starting with a waist yarn. That is not a main yarn, so I'm going to just knit a few rows, then pull all the needles to the working position. After hanging the combs, make sure that you pull all the needles into the working position and you knit a few rows. After that, I can cut off that waist yarn and using my nylon cord. If you don't have a nylon cord, you can use any other color different from the main color and the waist yarn, and you knit one row because this is going to be a separator for both colors when you're done using the main color to remove the waist yarn. So after that, I'll use our main color, that is the lemon green, and of course taking back your row counter to 00. I worked in tension 7, row counter to 00, and then to tension 7. I knitted 6 rows for the beginning. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then how to make a picot: you just pick a stitch, the second needle from the beginning, and you transfer it to the next, the one which is on the right. Like that, you just continue doing the same until you create a 1 by 1 rib where it's only one needle that has, and other needles are in the resting position. So I use my 3-headed, it's a bigger tool which is in a chunky machine. It makes it easier and faster for me to transfer the needles. So it's what I use to pick up the stitches one to the next, following up to the end. And then after that, you make sure you pull back. After that, you pull back all the needles before you knit any row. You pull back all the needles to the working position, and then you knit the other 6 rows. It takes quite some time, so you can just do that. If you don't have this bigger transfer tool, you'd have to use the one with a single head, so that you pick up every stitch one to the next as you transfer. So here I'm pulling back all the needles to the working position. If you forget and you leave the other ones in the resting position, you would be creating a rib instead of a picot. So it sometimes happens when you forget, you find you've just gone on to knit without pulling back. Make sure I pull back all the needles to the working position, and then after, knit the 6 rows, join the hem, and there I will have formed the picot. So it is easier here joining the hem because you can easily see the difference between the first color and the main color. So I'm picking up the stitch which is between the nylon cord as well as the waist yarn that we began with. It is that very main color, that is the lemon green, if you can see that. So you pick up those stitches carefully and you press them back to those to the needles so that you create the hem. That is how you can form a picot. So you can go on and do it all through, and then we can knit again. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please go on and subscribe. I'm creating new videos for you, new creations, like ideas just pop up in my mind and I think it's a good idea. I'll be sharing with you a video on how to make a baby cap. It's coming up next after this one, as well as how to make knickers, high waist knickers. Yes, you can still knit them. So subscribe and don't forget to like and comment. So after this we knitted, we shall go on and knit 40 rows. You can take back your row counter to 00 so that you can count on well. So I knitted 40 rows up straight. It depends on the length you want for the picot, for that flare part down. So if you, it's a mermaid design, yes. If you want it longer, you can go on and knit more rows. I just needed 40 rows only, and then after I cut off this yarn, the main yarn, and used the waist yarn to knit a few rows, and then remove the work from the machine. I didn't count these rows, that's why you saw I lifted up the row counter, the thing that beats on the row counter, so that I maintain my I continue with the counting to the length of the skirt. So after that I've removed all the work from the machine, as you can see. Now what we are going to do next, we are going to measure. I measured 55 to 56. That is the waist side. Okay, it's going to be a straight up skirt. The design is just below. So I pulled out 55, 56 needles. And now I'm returning back this piece, the lower part, on the machine by picking up stitches, still for the main color. So here I'll be doing double stitches. I'm picking 2 stitches and feeding them into one needle, so they create some gathers at the end. So I went on and did that all through. For some I was putting 1, others I was putting 2, given that my needle bed, at the beginning I didn't fill up all the needle bed and the measurement is not the same. If I was doing 45 for the skirt, there it would be 2 in the middle. Sorry, 2 needles per 2 stitches per needle. but now I'm doing a bigger size, so it can't fit all through. So that's why some is filling in one, others is filling in two. If you can see, I was doing that. So go on ahead and pick up the stitches, feed them back into the needle. You'll see the gathers, they will just form themselves as long as you keep feeding. You keep mixing, like adding two stitches per needle, sorry. It will work out. So go on ahead and do that. So after filling in all the needles, you pull them all to the working position, and don't forget to feed in your needle. I had forgotten here and I remembered after, so I had to redo it. Don't forget to feed back your thread, and there we are going to knit. Still I'm using tension 7, or you can change to tension 6.5, but I kept on tension 7 and knitted straight up to 220. So with the 40 on, I knitted straight up to 220, and then just straight, no increases, no what. Yes, see how the gathers have come in, like that's how it is. So you go on ahead and knit straight up to a desired length. If you want it shorter, if you want it longer, with your design down, you can knit straight to whichever length you want. So here at point 220, I have to create now the waistband, and it's the same way I created the waistband for the previous cut that I did. So you just pick up stitches the way we did the picot. Just pick up one stitch, transfer it to the next, all through, to create a 1 by 1 needle bed. And then after, for the waistband, I knitted 12 rows. So when you finish transferring stitches to the next, you push them back to the resting position. So that you don't mix them up. Then I knitted 12 rows at tension, didn't change the tension, I kept that same tension, increased, knitted 1 row at tension 10, then went back to tension 7 and knitted 12 rows. Here now I'm joining the hem. You can see where you join the hem from, that's where you started transferring from. So you join the hem, and then after you knit 1 row and you cast off. There one side is done. Now you can go on and do the second one. You can now unravel the waist yarn from the joining parts. You can remove the nylon cord, and automatically the first waist yarn will go off. The other one you can just unwind it, it will go off. So you make your 2 pieces together, the front and the side, and then join them to the machine the same way I usually join. Just joining. If you're using a sewing machine, go on ahead and join. If you're using hand stitching, you can join the same way, but I always join with a machine. So it's what I went on ahead and did. I joined these sides together on the machine without joining that waistband. I always join the waistband with a hand stitch. So I put at a length that I wanted. The length you can measure, because this kind of stretches, so you can measure whichever inches of length you want, and you put to that very length that you desire. So it's what I went on and did, and then joined to the needle bed. And the skirt was done after joining. Of course, I had to do a blind stitch around the one side of the neckband. After that, I got an elastic band and passed it through. If you want, you can use a string, an I-cord. I just did an elastic band, and that's how the skirt has turned out to be. So comment, like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.